Welcome to Power Wheel, a production of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. We hope to bring you reports woven around the Lagos-Ogun transmission project and the right-of-way for electricity transmission and network safety, which took center stage at the recent Abuja Power Safety Summit. There is also a special interview session with a medical expert and an academic, Dr. Ahmed Habib, on how the upgrade of transmission infrastructure is boosting the electricity supply in Maiduguri and other places in the Northeast. Stay with us. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. The management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, and the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA, have held a meeting as part of the process to construct key transmission substations along the Lagos and Ogun axis of Nigeria to raise bulk electricity supply for industrialization purpose.
The Managing Director, CEO of TCN, Mr. Usman Guru Mohammed, during the meeting held at the TCN headquarters in Abuja, lauded the Japanese government for the support being given in other projects to boost energy security.
We are very happy with the people of Japan and the government, and want to use this opportunity to thank you for this gesture towards the people of Nigeria.
He said the federal government of Nigeria and the government of Japan recently signed a grant agreement for the upgrade and rehabilitation of Apapa and Akangwa transmission substation in Lagos State.
The Apapa substation is going to be upgraded and also be rehabilitated, and also Akamba substation will be upgraded. This is very, very important for transmission. It's actually one of the key projects we count on it as part of our transmission rehabilitation and expansion program.
While reassuring the JICA delegates of TCN's readiness to play its role in delivering the projects, Mr. Mohammed said,
"We want to also promise you that on our part, what we are supposed to do to implement that project, we are going to do it. Everything that we need to do, we'll do to implement the project." You recall that we did the same type of project on the capacitor bank for Apo and Kefi. And I think we did not waste time in doing our own part. We did our part in the implementation of that project, and that's why the project was able to be completed on time.
The project manager for the Lagos and Ogun transmission projects, Mr. Matthew Ajibade, said the project would come in 4 lots or parts or phases for ease of handling across the 3 axes comprising Agbara, Abeokuta, and Ogijo, all in the southwest.
The 330 is about 110 kilometers, 330 kV line, and the 132 altogether is about 105 kilometers. Yes, 110 for 330, 105 for 132.
Leader of the delegation and Deputy Director JICA, Mr. Hideki Watanabe, said the meeting was a follow-up after both parties met in August 2018 on modalities of financing the landmark projects.
And the main purpose of this mission is just to have this mutual understanding for the to accelerate this project formulation and the project appraisal for the transmission project.
The federal government has tasked the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, on the strict monitoring, testing, and certification of operators and equipment in the power sector to eradicate quackery and the use of substandard materials.
The Minister of State Power Works and Housing, Mr. Mustafa Babashauri, said this in Abuja during the commissioning and launching of the agency's condition of service and surveillance equipment for the remote monitoring of its national meter test stations.
If we see the quality of the product we use, either as electrical appliance in our homes. They are very low standard. So I see a picture where NEMSA should have an office at the port, at the entry point, where equipment should be certified.
Mr. Shori, who represented the Minister of Power Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, spoke on the new conditions of service documents.
Condition of service, simply put, are the terms, defined terms of engagement between the staff and the institution. I think if other agencies should, replicate this, it will help, government in solving a lot of issues like the minimum wage issues that we have now.
He said the remote sensing equipment commissioned by NEMSA will enable the agency to monitor operations at the 3 national meter test stations of NEMSA, especially with the projected influx of meters in Nigeria in the coming months.
The security surveillance equipment being commissioned today will enable NEMSA headquarters to monitor online 24/7 the operations and activities in its 3 national meter test stations located at Oshodi, Kaduna, and Port Harcourt. The system put in place is a scalable one that allows the future coverage of other critical facilities when fully developed. I want to challenge the management and staff of NEMSA to be diligent in their duties and to abide by the conditions of service for a smooth and harmonious running of this crucial power sector technical enforcement agency going forward.
The managing director of NEMSA, Peter Eweso, noted that the surveillance system can store data and could be reviewed for forensic analysis.
At the headquarters, we can see what is happening in our meter test stations, and at the same time, when issues arises, issue of security, from the recorded memories of the system, information can be retrieved and analyzed and be able to aid management in taking right decision.
On the conditions of service, Eweso, who is also the Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation, said the document will guide the engagement and administration of staff in the agency.
Today marks a unique milestone in the history of this agency, as we now have conditions of service that defines the relationship between the agency's management and its staff in all ramifications.
Briefing pressmen shortly after the event on the milestones of NEMSA since October 2017, when he was reappointed, he said the agency has moved against the infringements on right of way through an enforcement order.
The discos, based on destruction or disconnection of premises under power lines, they've disconnected 1,205 premises from the time this came into effect, I think since around June 2018. This is still going on. As this disconnection is going on, there are some attempts for people to reconnect, but our men and the discos are always going around to remonitor and ensure that some of all these are not happening. Because really, when you look at it, the loss of one soul, you cannot quantify it, and so we are taking it very seriously to make sure that this actually is what should happen to keep our citizens safe from hazard and electrocution.
The federal government has called on operators in the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI, to ensure people building or living under transmission and distribution power lines are disconnected to avoid electrical accidents that endanger lives and property.
This call was made at a recent Power Safety Summit, PSS, in Abuja, the nation's capital, where the Minister of Power Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, presented his scorecard, especially in raising bulk electricity transmission capacity. Fashola, who was represented by the Director, Distribution Services of the Federal Ministry of Power Works and Housing, Mrs. Briskila Sabke, said the gains attained by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, can only have the most impact if activities in the sector are conducted in a safe manner.
Federal Ministry of Power Works and Housing power sector under the present administration set as its major objective of achieving incremental, stable, and uninterrupted power supply to Nigerians. This objective is only attainable and achievable if operational activities in the supply industry are conducted in a safe and conducive environment. At this juncture, permit me to point out some of our achievements. The transmission capacity has increased significantly, with several substations being constructed and energized across the 6 geopolitical zones. This helps us to transmit power which is generated, which has increased from 4,000 to 7,000 megawatt, and it's increasing.
For maximum safety, the minister spoke on the rights of way that must be obeyed by those building structures near power lines, especially those of power transmission being managed by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, and those of power distribution lines.
We have made concerted efforts in recent times and appeal to stakeholders in the industry, soliciting for their intervention in addressing the issue of incursion into the right-of-way following structures erected under them, which has hindered routine maintenance of these lines by the distribution companies and transmission company.
Citing the right-of-way regulation by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, he said,
for 330 kV lines, buildings should be at least 25 meters away from closest conductor. 2. 132 kV lines, buildings should be at least 15 meters away from closest conductor. 3. 333/11 up to 415 lines, buildings should be at least 3 meters away from closest conductor. And the ground power cable should be more than 3 meters below ground surface. It is my belief that this summit that cuts across public and private sectors will avail us the opportunity and the need for the state governments, planning, urban development ministries, civil societies, religious and educational institutions to help sensitize and enforce compliance on the right-of-way regulations for an efficient, stable, safe, and reliable network.
The Managing Director of the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, Engineer Peter Eweso, charged the distribution companies, DISCOs, to improve their safety needs, especially aging networks.
Adherence to safety rules and regulations is very important and crucial. Many of the accidents leading to electrocution could have been avoided if for proper guidance, proper adherence to rules and regulations and followed, these are avoided. We have, this is one of the major challenges, inadequate knowledge and ignorance on the part of operators. You find today, some people are even giving their PPE to wear. The man gets to site, leave his safety boots, leave his hand gloves, and climb with no safety boot and bare hands.
Chairman of the National Organizing Committee, NOC, of the summit, Gabriel Gbede, stressed on the need for collaboration to achieve a zero tolerance for accidents in the sector.
We must proactively work with the Nigerian power sector regulatory agencies, NEMSA, NEC, and other regulatory agencies towards finding long-lasting solutions. We are sure that a team of speakers and discussants will help us define how we can reduce incidents and fatalities to as low as reasonable practicable.
We're bringing you more reports in the Power Flash segment. Please don't go away. Next is the interview with an academic and medical health practitioner, Dr. Ahmed Habib, on improved electricity supply in Maiduguri and its environs after the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, upgraded the Maiduguri substation and others in the northeast. Dr. Habib, a lecturer at the College of Medical Science, University of Maiduguri, and also a customer of the Yola Electricity Distribution Company, describes the improvement as a new thing. Stay with us. What would you say about electricity supply in Maiduguri, Borno State?
Power supply in Maiduguri area is actually entirely a new thing today, because unlike in the previous years, where when light used to be something you expect in a week or 2 weeks time, this time around light is almost every time, almost 24 hours. What those people who are highly placed used to enjoy, what is called, is it 33 kVA. Now the poorest man is enjoying it in Maiduguri, because since maybe, I can't say the precise date, sometime in November, when we had that light, what they call 132 kV, the problem of light went off.
As a resident of the town, what is the significance of this to you?
That light that is very regular in Maiduguri now, you need to see the impact on the populace. Because all these petty traders who had to stop because they cannot fuel their generators, and those people that are working for them have been revived by this. So light supply in Maiduguri, I can say, has actually revived the economy and even has improved the security, because one of the problems that actually lead to escalation of security problem is poverty. And once you engage the youth in their petty trading and the rest, you discover that there's going to be great peace. So TCN has actually brought economic improvement, peace and stability with this regular power supply.
From your observation, what was the power infrastructure in Maiduguri like before the TCN upgrade?
We had only one line of supply, one station. Our source of light used to come from Gombe through Dambua. And these insurgencies used to interrupt. Sometimes they would call it elephant. So once one of the poles is damaged, we stay for more than 1 month without light. But with TCN, we are having dual supply now. The one coming from Damaturu, so in case there's a problem with this line coming from Dambua, the one from Damaturu is going to supply us. Or if there's a problem with the Damaturu, the Dambua one is going to supply us. So with this now, we kind of have regular power supply and its associated advantages.
What should the management of TCN and the government do to sustain this bulk electricity improvement?
We people in Maiduguri and the Northeast Zone at large, because we learned TCN is not limited to Maiduguri only, actually have seen the dividends of democracy. And you know what? We have observed that this project is actually handled by people that are very honest, determined. They are people, because we have seen that the people that manage this project, actually, they are resistant to those who sabotage us. They are resistant. When they fix time, because when they started telling me by so time we shall see regular power supply by TCN, I didn't agree. I said, who are those people? When they told me, the people actually, I've never heard of the Usman Gur Muhammad before. They say he is the chief executive, and we have our Fashola, Barrister Fashola, if I have called his name correctly. I know him because I know his track record. I said, this is very good. Later, I heard a lot about Muhammad Gur. I discovered that they actually steered the project rightly and honestly, and they stick to their time. So we commend their effort. I think these people are actually commendable, and we thank them. For the federal government to actually appoint these people in this place. For the TCN, we say kudos to you, because what you promised, you have delivered what you promised, actually. TCN has delivered what they promised, because it doesn't look like Nigerians' projects, because what we know of Nigerian projects is that federal government will give it. This is the project we have, this and that. The money will be voted in, but the project is going to be started, but it will not end. Maybe the next regime. But TCN, they actually made sure that what was said is actually accomplished. So TCN is actually commendable.
What will be your message to the people of Borno State and the Northeast region in supporting TCN's vision?
To the people living in Maiduguri and environs and the Northeast, I would like to actually, first of all, say that TCN and the federal government have done their own quota. They have given us what actually they promised us, because the general characteristics of Nigerians is that there's criticism, accusation. Why? Because whatever is promised to them is not actually fulfilled most of the time. So now that what was promised has been actually, and then this important thing, the light is a light. In fact, light is life. So now that we've gotten this, what do we do? What do we owe the government? Number one, we need to maintain these facilities, because it's not bringing the facilities that matters, but maintaining them. We have to support them in maintaining these facilities. How do we support them? Number one, we have to show a kind of reciprocation, kind of appreciation in a way. By what? We pay our NEPA bills regularly. That's a sign of appreciation. And we also protect those facilities. So let us be also the security of the facilities, all of us, so that we protect the facilities by actually making sure that those things are not vandalized. This is what I expect people from Maiduguri and, in fact, the Northeast to do.
In this edition, we brought to you a report on the need to improve safety standards and avoid building or living within the right-of-way for transmission and other power lines nationwide. Join us next week on the same station for a fresh edition of Power Wheel, as we bring you an interview package of what TCN is doing to ensure safety transmission networks and solving right-of-way issues. This episode and the previous ones are available on our YouTube channel, while you can connect with us on these other platforms showing on your screen. I am Chiwenwa Anyao. See you next time.